Hi, everybody. Ross the Boss, MFSN the Hub. I'm live from LA, Los Angeles, California. We're here with Flat to the Bone, Kasey Scheinfold. Kasey, say hi to everybody.
What's happening, everybody? Ross, it was a pretty eventful weekend for fantasy football, wasn't it?
I woke up and my phone was lit because all the injuries going on. People are freaking out on me. And Kasey, I want to, the top of the show, let's talk about the injuries that took place and what we're hearing on the IR, who's out for a few weeks, who's not playing. I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're the fantasy guy. Go.
I mean, the biggest name, obviously, is the number 1 or 2 pick in almost every draft this year, Justin Jefferson. They just put him on the IR today with a hamstring injury. He's going to miss the next 4 weeks. That you just can't replace that. That's miserable. Plus, you have Devin Achane, who was the sexiest
guy. You loved Achane. You called him
Achane.
You called him every name in the book except his real name.
I know. I was trying to channel my inner boss there, but
I loved it.
I mean, he's on. I think they put him on IR too, didn't they? So he's going to miss.
They say he's out for at least a few weeks. I don't know.
And that guy was he was going to be the kind of late drafted player or undrafted player who was going to win you fantasy championships the way he was playing. So that's a huge loss for teams. James Conner, another one, he's out for a few weeks. And Anthony Richardson, the kind of X factor quarterback up there in Indianapolis, grade 3 sprain of his AC joint in his throwing shoulder. They're saying he's out at least 3 to 4 weeks.
But the truth about Richardson is this. I mean, he's been hurt every game. I mean, this guy's getting beaten up. I mean, he thinks he's still in college running around like he did in Florida. It's not. It's the NFL. These guys are bigger, stronger, and faster. They're going to catch you. You're going to be running away from these guys. These little DBs can hit as harder than linebackers in college. You know that.
Yeah.
And I think this guy thinks, well, I'm bigger and stronger than most of these guys. No, you're not. And it proves that he's hurt. And you just can't do that as any human being. Get hit like that all the time and expect to stay healthy. There's no way. So let's go back. Let's rewind. Let's talk about Jefferson. How does that impact fantasy? Do you pick up Osborne?
Well,
Addison. Tell me what your strategy is with his injury.
Well, at this point, Addison is owned. I don't think.
Well, I have Addison. I know that. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I think KJ Osborne has to become a priority pickup for you. But you're not going to replace. You can't find a single player to replace Justin Jefferson. It's just not going to work that way. You're going to have to absorb the loss for 4 weeks and hope he comes back strong. The issue is going to be, we're 3 weeks from the trade deadline. Kirk Cousins is one of the hottest names out there for trades. And Minnesota's been, what are they, 1-4 at this point?
Yeah. So they're not blowing that big Viking horn right now, Kasey.
Right. And they're not going to win a lot in the next few weeks without their best offensive weapon on the field. It could be tough sailing. If they're 1-5 or 1-6 in a couple weeks, you could see Justin Jefferson getting traded. Kirk Cousins getting traded. Then what's Justin Jefferson coming back to in terms of fantasy relevance? This is a really big development.
Big development. I agree. You're talking about the top fantasy pick in most leagues, like you said, and he's out minimum of 4 weeks, Kasey Scheinfold. This is serious news.
Yeah, and they're not going to rush him back if they're not in the playoffs.
Let's go to your guy, A-Train. Now you got me saying it wrong.
Achane.
Thank you. Texas A&M product. Mozart had 3 touchdowns when he played Denver, so obviously he can do the job. But if I was a fantasy owner, I would look beyond Mozart and take their 3rd string running back, because Mozart's going to get hurt. It's just a matter of time.
I love that you call him Mozart, by the way.
Mustard.
Mostert.
Close enough. I'll call him Mustard. How about that? But yes, Kasey,
Jeff Wilson is who you're talking about, I assume.
Jeff Wilson, the San Francisco 49er prodigy, is now with his old coach in Miami, Kasey, they're breaking offensive records there. If you have a piece of Miami offense, congratulations. Tyreek Hill's can't stop that guy. And the running game is great. And Waddle hasn't even gotten into 5th gear yet. When that guy gets started. Miami to me is the most offensive team in the AFC. Buffalo lost to Jacksonville in London. And I know they beat Miami the week before, but doesn't matter because when you lose away at games like Buffalo does all the time, I don't respect them at all. I think they're way overrated, Buffalo. I mean, Kasey, what do you think?
I don't think Buffalo's way overrated. I don't think they're stopping the run right now on defense, but they're still going to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the AFC, I think.
Yeah, okay. I dropped them like a rock after I saw them play on Sunday morning.
See,
I dropped like a rock.
I'm not gonna hold it against them playing in a 6-hour time difference after a big jet lag flight across the pond.
These guys all fly when they go to away.
I know they do.
Everybody flies.
But they're playing
and Jacksonville to London is the same distance from Jacksonville to LA. Stop playing that little card that everybody gives when they lose.
But 6 hours in that direction means they're playing. Their body clock is 3:30. So I'm going to see how.
What are you?
They get the Giants this week. They could easily put up 47 points, and then everybody's going to say all is right with the world, And so I still think Josh Allen is a elite top 3 or 4 quarterback. Stephon Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver. James Cook had a crap week last week, which makes him a great buy low candidate, by the way, people, if you're looking for somebody to buy low on.
There you go.
He's still a top wide receiver, top running back there. They're going to be fine. Their defense, Von Miller's coming back. That'll help their pass rush. They're going to have to fix the run defense some. But other than that, they're still,
KC at home, they're terrific. And
Kansas City hasn't been playing great. They don't look like they're going to be the class of the AFC this year.
Whoa. Don't underestimate Kansas City. When they need to win, they win. They find a way to win.
Sure.
And right. I think this regular season is they're just all they're doing.
Yeah, but if they start pulling the LeBron James approach to take the regular season off to be rested for the playoffs,
they're not resting. But
LeBron James has only won 1 championship that way, and it was in the COVID season when they didn't have a full season. So I don't necessarily think that's the right thing. I think you have a 34-year-old tight end or 35-year-old tight end who disappears now for suddenly. I don't know if Taylor is that demanding of his attention that he can't focus on football. They don't have a wide receiver. They just don't.
It's funny. People ask me, who's the number one? I'm like, well,
right now it's Rashee Rice.
I said Rashee Rice too. I said, I don't know.
But it's not.
I said, I thought it was going to be, I said Sky Moore. I was wrong. I mean, I'll eat that hoagie sandwich on that.
I'm with you.
I'll eat that hoagie sandwich. I said Sky Moore. I messed up.
So many shares of Sky Moore. It's crazy. I have to get rid of him though, because he's droppable.
You have him best ball. You can't drop people.
No, but I mean in regular leagues.
Regular leagues.
And the guy who I want to see is Justin Ross. I want to see what they do.
I love his last name. We love his last name.
And this cat was as talented in college as anybody, and has probably the best physical tools there, but he had the major injury that kind of kept him out of the league last year. He gets a good target share when he's in the game. He's just not in the game that much. I wonder if they're going to work him in more, because I could see he and Rashee Rice taking over the 1-2 duties, but I don't see who's the best. Is Miami the best team in the AFC right now?
I still say it's Kansas City. I still say that just because Super Bowl champions, and I respect Pat Mahomes a lot.
Is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase?
No, Joe Burrow's not even my conversation anymore.
Are they back? I mean, that was a good week.
Oh, one game against one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my life. I don't think so. Well, they play Seattle this weekend. It's a big test because Seattle and Pete Carroll, it's a whole different ball of wax playing against them, playing against Arizona, who just kind of just phoned it in the second half. I watched that game. I watched it on Red Zone, but it doesn't matter. I saw all the key plays. But Burrow did look good, did look better. You can tell that calf is still bothering him. And congratulations to fantasy owners who kept him going. Because
I did. I stuck him in there. But that was
Chase. I was screaming to the hilltops about trading. If you can get Chase, get him. Because I knew this day would come, and it came earlier than I thought. I didn't think it would get it so quick. But 3 touchdowns, Kasey Scheinfeld, not too bad. It sounds like him and Kittle had the hat trick. It's not.
Kittle only had 3 receptions, didn't he, for his 3 touchdowns? At least
I can't verify that, but I know he had 3 touchdowns. So if you're a fantasy owner for either one, congratulations. I'm sure if you have him, you started him. He didn't sit Chase. The great thing about Chase was he was complaining at the press conference 2 weeks ago about how he's open all the time. And yeah, he is open all the time. Yeah, throw him the rock.
All right. We have
Casey, we have a question. Let me tell people really quick. I want to welcome all our affiliates watching right now. And if you have any questions like George is asking right now, don't be afraid to ask us. We'll answer fantasy questions. We'll answer any questions you have on football. We'll be happy to ask, even baseball questions, which is my sport and Casey's sport too. We love baseball just as much as football. So go ahead. George Cook, you're on the clock. Go.
What can I sell Tony Pollard for in redraft? Not getting my second round pick value out of him, and the Cowboys offense looks atrocious. So
go ahead. I'll give my 2 cents. Go.
Well, I think Tony Pollard is actually a buy low candidate at this point because we know he's a good running back. They were atrocious against Dallas. Against San Francisco. I get that.
Wow.
But I mean, maybe you can go after a James Cook and something else. Maybe a number 3 or 2 wide receiver in that ballpark. But yeah, you can't get second round value for somebody who's performing at like an 8th round pick right now. Tony Pollard's name may still work. There's a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans across this country. See if there are any in your draft, target them, see if you can get them to overpay, because most people, if they're also a fan of a specific team, would overpay to root for somebody they really enjoy. But Pollard looks rough right now.
I would go after Seattle. I'll go after Walker III. I would go after Waddle. I would go after just taking some players that have not performed where they should be. But I would actually kind of hold on to Pollard. I have him in a few leagues, and I think that if he doesn't get hurt, I think he's going to have some huge games for Dallas, especially you're sitting down, George, watching the Thanksgiving game, and Pollard's having 2 touchdowns. You're eating turkey. You're having a great time, pumpkin pie, and you're having a great time sitting down. Keep Pollard. Don't be so quick. It's only week 6. There's 17 weeks now, and is it 17 or 18 weeks? 18 weeks.
Well, there's
right?
14 weeks in the regular season.
Okay, so there's 14. Fine.
So we're a couple weeks shy of the midway.
Let's not freak out about Pollard. The problem with Pollard is this: unless you're a Cowboy fan, unless you appreciate what his value is, you're not going to get much for him what he's worth. So I would hold on to him in all seriousness.
Yeah, I mean, Pollard has proven last year that he can be very fantasy relevant with less touches than the typical running back, because he was sharing all those snaps with Zeke last year. He doesn't have anybody to take those away from him. I know he had the bad leg injury in the San Francisco game, right? He snapped his leg. It looked like pretty bad.
He did. It was a horrible injury, Casey. Don't bring it up.
They say he's back and healthy, but I agree with Ross. I would hold on to him. I would actually maybe try to buy low on him if I could. From whoever has him in my league. So,
yeah, I mean, he'll get the volume. The one I'm worried about is Henry for Tennessee. I mean, he did not look good last week.
George wants to know if Josh Jacobs would be a good one to target instead.
How much Josh Jacobs is this? I know I watched him last night. He had an okay game. It's yards per carry average.
Touchdown dependent. He really is.
I mean, it's yards per carry, Casey, is just horrible. And if he didn't score that touchdown yesterday, I would have won my week. I lost because that idiot had scored that touchdown. I'm still bitter.
I'm not a huge Josh Jacobs fan either. As bad as we say the Cowboys offense looked on Sunday night against San Francisco, Las Vegas's offense
McDaniels is not a good coach, guys.
Right. He hasn't shown he can call a good game.
I saw the press conference. The first thing he said is he complimented his punter. That's what his big compliment was of the game. I mean, I don't get it. And he almost lost that game. I mean, he almost outcoached himself, and he could have lost that game if the Green Bay scored at the last minute. He would have horrible. But he got lucky. He won. He may keep.
Yeah. How far has love fallen on the? Oh my God, this guy's a league-winning quarterback after the first 2 games where he had 6 touchdowns and no interceptions, to now, since then, in the last 3 weeks, what is it, 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions? He just looks like a different quarterback entirely. And I think a lot of that has to do with Aaron Jones being out. But
I think bad decisions. So, I mean, he had 3 interceptions last night. We're talking about Jordan Love, just so everybody knows. And one of the interceptions it was off somebody's like pad or something, right? Or fingers or something. So I don't really count that, but he had 2 bad interceptions, and the one at the end lost the game. And they had 35 seconds left, and instead of like driving the ball, getting in the first down, they went for the touchdown. They was picked. That's bad decisions. That's bad quarterbacking, bad calling, whatever you want to call it. But that kind of stuff can't happen if you want to be a winner. And I blame the coach. So there you go.
So George wants to know if you think you could package Pollard with a wide receiver 2 for C-Mac.
No.
I don't think C-Mac's going to – I don't think
C-Mac's MVP, baby. C-Mac's MVP. We're talking about an elite running back that gets the ball running and
he's
catching.
The best running back by a wide margin in fantasy football right now.
No, his value is up here.
If you package Pollard with Jamar Chase, maybe, or with one of the top
I think Kasey, I think he's untouchable. Unless the team that has him needs like a quarterback. Let's say they have Jefferson
and you have Chase.
Yeah, I mean, but CMC is like he's untouchable. I would say there's one player in the league that's untouchable if you have him, and I don't care what the offer is. Unless it's some dynasty league and you're getting draft picks, but I wouldn't trade him. But CMC right now is untouchable, and as much as I mean, George him getting injured.
As much as we think it won't happen, I'm not telling you not to try, but don't be shocked if you get a quick rejection and maybe a kind of nasty note to go along with it about how disrespectful the trade offer was.
I do that too with little short notes.
Ross likes to jab you when he doesn't think you're.
Well, when it's a horrible trade, it's like
when Dr. Dan is offering you whoever he just picked up off the waiver wire for your best player.
Then he says, "Oh, I was just kidding." Okay, Kasey, let's talk waiver wire pickups. We talked about a few players. You like Osborne from Minnesota.
Sure.
I don't know who the running back, the backup. I think it's Clemente just took off waivers I'm talking about Arizona. I don't know who you should replace Connor with. And
is it Keontae Ingram? Is that who they have?
I have no idea. I didn't even look it up. I just saw.
I'm looking it up right now.
I can't pick him out in a police lineup, but I assume you should try to pick up the Arizona running back because
they're saying Amari
DeMarcado. See, I saw that too, and I just can't pronounce his name. That's why I said I didn't really know who he is. But they also did like a waiver wire thing with Clement that I saw. I don't know, but you should definitely try to investigate and see who's practicing with the first team maybe today. Hopefully they're practicing and try to pick that player up for tonight.
Yeah. I mean, running backs you can look at that are on the waiver wire. You talked about him on your short yesterday. Roschon Johnson, if he gets out of the concussion protocol, is obviously, to me, the number one pickup at running back. If he's still in the concussion protocol, then you can actually look at Deontay Foreman, who's been a healthy scratch for them the past couple of weeks. But he's an effective running back in the NFL. He's not going to win you like Devin Achane types of numbers, but he's going to be 3 to 4 yards up the middle. He can get those hard runs. He gets goal line work pretty well. So Roschon Johnson, to me, is probably the top running back to pick up right now. What do you have?
I like Roschon too. I mean, I talked about it yesterday on my waiver wire pickup thing, and Roschon Johnson to me is the guy you should pick up. And I mean, I know Mostert. How do you say his name from Miami?
Raheem Mostert.
Mostert. I know he is available in some leagues. I saw him. People dropped him after A-Train or ever say his name half that big week. But I mean, on the running back side, I mean, Eckler's out, so Joshua Kelly again is going to get majority of the carries. And then if we go around the league, I mean, there's not really much I would say in the running back category.
I think I was 1 week too early when I proclaimed Derrick Henry done, because I forgot what the Cincinnati Bengals can make you look like when they're not playing well. So a couple weeks ago, I came on the show and I said, Derrick Henry is not somebody you want to own. You want to sell him while you can. I hope you chose to do that last week after his 120 yards and 2 touchdowns against Cincinnati, because Tyjae Spears is the future, I think, in Tennessee right now. And he's under 60% owned, I believe. He is at 27%. This guy is going to keep getting more and more volume.
He is.
As Tennessee starts looking more and more to the future. I think you may see eventually either Malik Willis or Will Levis get some run there at quarterback to see who they have as their future quarterback, because again, Tannehill is not the answer right now the way he's playing. So although DeAndre Hopkins did have a kind of a renaissance game last weekend where he was really, really good out there. But I say Tyjae Spears is the other running back I would run
I
out and
agree.
target if I could.
And you know what? I mean, the Tennessee offense overall is not that great. I mean, they don't score many points. I mean, if you want to talk about a team that's in disarray, and I don't have any of these players on this team because I'm not a fan of the team because I hate Belichick, is the New England Patriots. I mean, they've been outscored like over 72-3 or something.
Awful right now.
I mean, they've been getting destroyed. I mean, it's not even like 21-17 games. These are like 35-3. I mean, just horrible over 30 games where they can't score.
Yeah,
Mac Jones
really
looks awful. I don't think he's the future. I think the Patriots, whatever happens, are going to be drafting a quarterback next season. You can count on that for sure. Their running game is non-existent. I mean, they have no receivers really, except Henry, who leads the team in receptions. He's the tight end. So all that, the Patriots are just a disaster. So if you have any Patriots on your team, I suggest you trade them if they're not worth anything. So good luck trading them. Maybe Henry, maybe. But none of those other guys are worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan, and you were too. But I mean, I was the biggest proponent of Ramondre Stevenson before this year. I thought he was going to be a top 5 running back, and quite honestly, he's been almost droppable. If he has another bad week or two, I think he becomes waiver wire material in redraft leagues. I think you hold on to him in dynasty or keeper leagues in case, but in redraft, he's been bad.
Kasey, what wide receivers are you looking at to pick up this week? Anybody comes to you that you like a lot?
I still like Josh Reynolds in Detroit.
He had a touchdown, right? He looked good.
And Amon-Ra missed the last week, so Reynolds was the number 1 and was able to produce. I don't know if Amon-Ra is coming back.
The coach said he should be back. That's what Coach Campbell said in a press conference yesterday.
So I like him. I'm a big fan of Josh Downs in Indianapolis. I just think he has clearly turned into the number 2 receiver already there in front of Alec Pierce. Still behind Michael Pittman, but their target share and air yards are not as far apart as you'd like. And this is your kind of.
I love Minshew. I mean, you gotta love Gardner. You gotta love
Minshew. Minshew has a good chemistry with Downs. He's been targeted 5 to 7 times a game, and he's that prototypical kind of slot type of receiver who's super quick, in and out of his cuts, runs good routes, good after the catch. I think you're going to see him do that kind of second half ascent that you see from good rookie wide receivers, where they start off not as well integrated into the team, but by week 7, week 8, they just take off. I think that's some guy you could get now, and he can actually get better as the season goes on.
Now, talk about the Colts. What do you do with Jonathan Taylor? Because Zach Moss is looking like an all-pro running back right now. Do you still start him? Do you sit him? What do you do?
You don't give a guy $14 million a year for 3 years and sit him on the bench. I just don't think you got him back after he was so disgruntled. He was willing to go on the IR to kind of play poker, I guess, with them, play a game of chicken. You give him $43 million or whatever it is over 3 years. You sit him on the bench again. Sure, you paid him, but he's going to be just as much of a kind of splinter in the foot of Indianapolis if you're not giving him a majority of the starts. I think the first couple weeks,
I do too.
You could see them doing maybe a 50-50 timeshare, but I think by week 9 or after the bye week, whenever that is, certainly by the time Richardson is back, you're going to see Jonathan Taylor be the bell cow back again.
Well, I think he's one of the best backs in football.
When he's healthy, he's 1 or 2.
And he's healthy. He said he's healthy. He looks healthy. He's walking with no limps or anything. I think the first week back, I don't think they wanted to get him. I don't think they want to overwhelm him. I think they said, Moss, get out there. And if he didn't do what he did, I think we would see more of Jonathan Taylor. But Moss was playing great. You got to keep the guy in. I mean, that's it. I mean, a guy hasn't been in around the football field for weeks, so you just don't want to overdo it the first week back. I get it, but I think you're right. I think you'll see a lot more of in the next few weeks to come. I think that we'll actually see him be a leader in fantasy football in a lot of categories for a lot of weeks coming up because this guy's really good. I love this kid. Well, let's talk about the games coming up, Kasey Scheinfeld. How about that?
Hey, lay it on me.
Let's talk about a game that you're really excited about, I'm sure. The Kansas City Chiefs are at home against the Denver Broncos, probably the worst defense in the league. They gave up 70 points to Miami. And now they go into Kansas City on Thursday night with not much time to prepare. If I was the Kansas City Chiefs, Kelce owners, beware. I would rest Kelce. I know he got hurt last game. I know he caught a touchdown. I get it. I understand. I know your girlfriend, Taylor Swift, will probably be there because her movie's out and she wants to promote her movie. That's all it was, guys. They're not really dating. But Ross the boss, I know everything. But all that being said, I mean, who do you start on the Kansas City side? I guess you got to watch and see if Kelsey's playing.
Well, I'm starting Pacheco because everybody seems to run for 150 plus yards against Denver. So I'm absolutely throwing him out there. You're throwing Mahomes out there. He's going to be fantasy relevant no matter what.
He's number 1-2 quarterback every week.
If Kelsey's in the starting lineup, you're playing Travis Kelce because even 60% Kelce is the number 3 tight end in fantasy football.
To Kelce, we start, but the reason I'm asking is because what wide receivers do you start on Kansas City side?
I think the only one I trust right now is Rashee Rice. I think that's it. That's MVS has been terrible. Tony is terrible.
Who?
Right. And Sky Moore, who you and I love all preseason, is droppable at this point. So
I'm not disagreeing.
I think it's Rashee Rice. And I think if you want to grab somebody as a deep sleeper to stash and see if he develops, it's Justin Ross. Justin Ross.
Yeah, I know.
He was a big name in the preseason. He was a stud in college, had all the physical tools, but because of injuries,
it's just so odd to me that Kansas City can't draft like a top tier receiver while Houston gets top tier receivers and they're looking great. I mean, for a rookie quarterback, he has all these targets that are just tearing it up, including Robert Woods, who everybody had washed up. He's having a good year too.
Well, how
I don't
about
get it.
The LA Rams drafting wide receivers? But anyway, we have a question. D's Nuts wants to know, do I trade Montgomery for Adams? I'm assuming Devontae Montgomery.
It's not the Adams family, but keep going.
Full PPR, feeling skeptical on Adams' shoulder injury.
He was hurt last night, for sure. I mean, he was out there because he wanted to play against his old team, and I get it. I would be out there too. But he was not 100%, and they were not throwing the ball. So I know for a fact when you see Jacob Myers, what's his name? Jacoby Myers. I always get me. Jacoby Myers out there having a huge game, and Devontae Adams not catching the ball at all. I know he's hurt. I would keep Devontae Adams to me as a top 3 receiver, Kasey, in the league. I mean, stat wise,
definitely top 5.
Even top. I mean, I know stat wise, he gets tons of targets. He gets the ball a lot, and I rather have Adams, but Montgomery.
Yeah, it depends who else I have at wide receiver because I mean, David Montgomery, it slid into the role of Jamal Williams and 18 touchdowns last year, right? He's in that same role in that Detroit offense, and he's looked awesome in that role. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs has not taken over. I mean, he missed last week, but he hasn't taken over any of the volume really that we were hoping for as Gibbs owners or Gibbs drafters. So I probably wouldn't trade Montgomery for Adams right now unless I was really hurting at wide receiver and really deep at running back. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather have Adams. That's me. It could be a little prejudiced just because he went to school in California. So, I could be a little more prejudiced because of that. But there you go.
Wizzy Jefferson. Wait, hold on. We got some questions here. Wizzy Jefferson. Should I fire D-Hop and Madison for CeeDee Lamb?
Yes.
Yeah, if you can get it done, I would absolutely do it. I don't think CeeDee Lamb.
There's no argument.
Although Dallas is
no. You want CeeDee Lamb. Madison is not consistent. He's fat too.
Z Smitty sent us
Walker. Go ahead, read it.
He sent us his roster, I guess.
I'm reading it.
Love, Walker, Mixon, JT, Achan, Montgomery, Stroud.
Sorry about Achan. Yeah.
Jay Jets,
Puka,
Olave,
Kittle.
Waddle, Puka, Kittle, Ertz, Deontay Johnson.
Well, why do you have two tight ends? I would drop Burks, but that's me. Okay, so
Do I trade Puka, Montgomery, and Mixon for CD and Bijan?
Puka, who's getting less targets because you know who's back. Montgomery, Mixon is irrelevant, doesn't matter anymore because
I'm assuming he's saying that because he needs to replace Jefferson.
Yes, you make that trade in a second. Yes, CD Lamb and Bijan. Bijan's just going to get better every week. I love that kid. I mean,
you're paying
press accept.
You're paying a heavy price for it, but I think it's worth the risk.
I'm a Bengal fan. I didn't pick Nixon in one of my leagues. You know why? Because the Bengals don't run the ball that much. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Get back to what you were talking about. So yes, we would pull that trade.
Press accept. I don't have to give an explanation. So let's talk games coming up on Sunday. Anybody on Denver really quick you would start? Go ahead. Anybody on Thursday night?
I would start Russell Wilson. I mean, the guy's been decent.
Yeah, they'll be throwing from behind. You're right. That's not a bad start.
Do you think I don't know Jerry Jeudy? I think Jerry Jeudy you put out there because you paid a price for him and he's a good wide receiver.
Cortland Sutton.
Man, would I start Sutton?
How about your boy Mims?
I don't know. I love Marvin Mims, but
I say Marvin Mims. He goes crazy. I love it.
I love him, but I wouldn't start him yet. I think he'll be the starter by the second half of the season. And Javonte, who knows how healthy he is.
He's questionable. I don't know if he's playing. I just checked.
And Jaleel.
You don't start those guys.
McLaughlin,
okay, let's talk about Sunday games, Kasey. I'll just pick a few games that are fantasy relevant, obviously, and you tell me who you want to start. So the first one, the highest potent offense in the league. The Miami Dolphins are at home against Carolina.
Oh my!
Who do you like in Miami? Go.
I like them all.
All that's good enough.
I think, except no tight end, but wide receivers, both Waddle and
I love it. How about Claypool? He's a Miami Dolphin now. Claypool's a Dolphin.
I hate
the Notre Dame kid.
I know. Tua, you're starting obviously. Mostert.
Carolina.
Nobody.
Bryce Young, I think needs some years to develop. Not weeks, years.
No, I think you throw Miles Sanders out there if he's healthy. I think you're going to start Thielen or Chark because they're going to be throwing a lot.
They'll be throwing. They'll be behind 25, 30 points. Miami's going to pour it on. They love doing that. They don't care.
Jonathan Mingo is a deep sleeper kind of idea if you're in daily fantasy stuff where you're looking for somebody who could be that lottery ticket.
But I think Miami is going to have the highest points next week, which means they'll feast on fantasy. Tyreek Hill's going to have 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. That guy predicted beginning of the season I'm going to have 2,000 yards receiving and we'll win the Super Bowl. So I think at least half of his wish is going to happen. They can easily win the Super Bowl too. I don't know. Another game that catches my eye, Kasey, is the Bengals are at home against Seattle. Bengals defense is not good.
Nope.
Not good at all. The Bengals, do you go back and start Burrow against Seattle's defense? It's not the doomsday defense anymore either. It's not like
it's not. They don't have the Legion of Boom in the back.
Yeah, those guys aren't coming out of the
Witherspoon has been awesome though, so I'll give him credit for that.
Okay, so on the Bengals side, Burrow, what do you do? Let's say you have Burrow and you
Chase.
have CJ. Let's say you have CJ Stroud and I have Burrow on my team, and I have to start one. Who do you start?
I am starting Burrow.
Really? And Houston is playing the Saints at home.
And the Saints are a good defense, man.
Okay.
They have a good front four.
Just checking. So you heard that first. Kasey would start
Tank
Burrow.
Dell. Wasn't Tank Dell hurt this past week with a concussion?
Yeah, he's questionable. Yes. So he got hurt.
Yeah. I like Burrow. If Higgins comes back, I like Higgins. I certainly like Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon is hard to pick.
Don't start Joe Mixon. Whatever
Geno's,
you do, folks.
You're going to start Geno and the wide receivers there.
Lockett, Metcalf.
You're going to start
Walker the third.
So
I love saying like Walker the third, like Walker the second's on the sidelines. Like we don't want to get them mixed up.
Wheeling himself out second.
Yeah. Vikings, who are without Jefferson, but they play the Bears, Kasey, in Chicago in October without the snow and sleet and the rain. I like the Minnesota team, even though there's no Jefferson. I think they'll feast on that Chicago defense. Tell me who you start.
Well, Kirk Cousins, obviously, Hawkinson, you're going to start, and Addison. I might run Osborne out there.
Ozzy Osborne?
Yes.
Okay,
well,
okay.
it's his cousin KJ, but it's close
Okay,
enough.
close enough. Okay, okay.
I'm not sure if I'm going to run. I wouldn't run Cam Akers out there. I don't think Cam Akers is going to make a difference. Madison, you can.
I'm not a Madison guy.
I'm not a Madison guy
he's so
either.
slow. Just watch him run, and tell me if I'm missing something. He's just slow. There's no breakaway speed there. He's just I don't know.
For Chicago, you got to put Fields out there.
Fields is like. Let me tell you something about Fields. Before, when he played Thursday night, he was leading the league in touchdowns. So. Yeah. People are complaining about Fields, this and that. He's having a great year.
Well, he was terrible for a couple of weeks, but the last 2 weeks he's been so good. DJ Moore, you got to throw out there.
Okay.
Cole Kmet has been really good.
Cole Kmet's been great.
So I would put him out there. Running back, I think if Roshan Johnson is cleared to play, I'm putting him out there. If I'm in a bye week situation and I have Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, one of those guys, and I need a tough plug in there, I might look at picking up Deontay Foreman. He's been very, very unowned in almost every league, so he's out there. It's somebody who can get you through as a streaker, as we like to call them.
Love it. Do you want to hear a bad game? And I probably wouldn't really start anybody but Jacobs in this game and Devontae Adams. The Patriots are going to Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Talking about a game that you have to force me and tie me down to watch.
I could see Josh McDaniels giving Jimmy G the chance to put up monster numbers against New England, given the old revenge
game. I like that, Kasey. So that's an angle.
I might throw Garoppolo out there if I needed a second quarterback.
Eagles versus Jets. Jets are at home. That's an afternoon game, Kasey, for you. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Start.
You're throwing the usual Eagles out there. Hunt, Smith. Hurts, Smith, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. Goddard showed up last week.
Oh, wow. First quarter, he was great.
Are they going to keep him in? He was a ghost in the second half, so I don't know how good they're planning on keeping him in the game script. On the Jets side, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are the two I'm throwing. And I might throw out Conklin, honestly. There's a deep sleeper tight end for you because the Eagles are one of the worst defenses statistically against the tight end, and Garrett Wilson likes the security blanket that is Conklin. So I might look at Tyler Conklin.
Zach Wilson, you're right. So NFC Championship game, Kasey, 49ers versus Eagles, yes or no?
Yes.
Ooh, you heard it from me first. Kasey Scheinfeld predicting Eagles versus Niners.
And the Niners are going to kill him if it was played this week.
I would never bet against Hurts. The guy's a winner. That's all I got to say.
All right,
he's 22. Hold on, he's 22-1 in this past game. It's unbelievable with Hurts. Go ahead.
Should I do Bijan, Joe Burrow, and Waddle?
Hold on, Bijan. That's a big package.
Yeah,
Bijan,
Joe Burrow and Waddle for Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley. If I'm the guy who's getting Bijan, Joe Burrow, and Waddle, I'm very happy because I think Burrow is going to be fine rest of the season. Bijan to me is as good as Barkley and healthy at this point, and Waddle is a top 10 wide receiver. So Josh Allen's going to give you a little more because he runs the ball a little bit more than Joe Burrow. But other than that, there's no guarantee Barkley, if he comes back this week, is back. And then how long until he's hurt again? This guy's been hurt a lot.
Listen, I've had every finger in my hands broken. I've had major injuries. I've been through everything, hell and back. And I know how hard a high ankle sprain is. It's not it's ligaments. And I know it takes a long time to recover, Kasey. I'm not a doctor. You are, you know what it is. But what I'm telling you, it's a very tough injury, and I don't want any part of Barkley right now. I just feel he's going to be an injury. He's going to be bothering the whole season.
If I wouldn't do that trade, Bijan, Burrow, and Waddle is better than Allen.
And I know the Giants Casey's a Giant fan. Now, the Giants have a huge press department. The Giant fans are really loyal. I get it, but doesn't matter. It's not going to win you fantasy weeks. Doesn't matter. But keep what you got.
So here's his team. Fields, Bijan, Kyron, Kupp, Olave, Ridley, Chase, Hawkinson. His bench is Burrow, Rashee Rice, Jalen Waddle, Josh Palmer.
I love this team.
Well, it's an 8-team, I think, 8 PPR
You have
team.
Waddle on the bench. That's amazing. I would start Waddle, not start Olave.
Yeah, I think Olave.
That's a quick thing I would do quickly. I love Hawkinson. I love Chase. I love Ridley. I bet him to have more than 5.5 touchdowns.
And I wouldn't want to trade. Yeah, I wouldn't want to trade Bijan.
Coop was. I watched some of the Ram game. He gets the ball a lot.
I'll tell you something. If you
Kyron, I'm worried about. Kyron, I'm worried about.
That trade, I would substitute Kyron for Bijan and see if he'd do it then.
Yeah, I would
get Allen and Barkley for Kyron Williams, Joe Burrow, and Jalen Waddle. Yeah, that would be the way I would do it.
Kyron is. Stanford looks so good right now throwing the ball, and
he's my top pickup at quarterback.
I mean, Stanford looks good, and his arm is strong, and he has good receivers. He just got rid of Van Jefferson today. That's how stacked they are, receiver, and they gave him to Atlanta for like a 6th-round pick. When people trade for 6th-round picks, that means like we don't want you on the team anymore.
That's the equivalent of a $20 bill. Yeah, Stafford is my top pickup at quarterback.
You heard that first. Kasey Scheinfeld's top quarterback pickup.
Because I mean, look, Cooper Kupp came back and was exactly the same Cooper Kupp.
He looks so. I'm not a Ram fan, guys. Like, I live in LA. I get it.
I watched that first half or parts of it, and between Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, it didn't look like anybody was in the secondary playing defense.
No.
They were just open.
And I like Tutu also. I love their names. Puka, Tutu. I mean, the great Kupp. I mean, it's great names. Great names, Kasey Scheinfeld. Okay, here's the game that I want to talk to you about.
All right,
we'll go.
Then we got to go.
This game is Sunday night, Kasey Scheinfeld. You'll be in front of your TV. It's going to be 8:20, the kickoff. You had dinner. Your kids are going to be up, driving you nuts. I know they are. And you'll be in your little man cave, big man cave. Excuse me. I saw it. It's unbelievable. And it's the New York Giants are at the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills, they feast on these type of teams. I mean, this is when they, when their teams are bad, that's what they like to do. They like to pour it on.
It's going to be 42-9.
You heard it here first, 42-9. So any Giants at all you would start?
Graham
Waller.
Graham Gano. That's it.
And he's a Giants fan.
Look, if Barkley's back, I'm starting Barkley because the Bills' run defense is not good right now.
How about your guy? How about the other guy they have, the backup?
Matt Breida? No.
Breida.
No.
49er guy.
I'm not running him out there.
So Buffalo, they're going to feast. So you start Diggs, you start Allen, you start Cook,
you start Gabe Davis. You can even put out Kincaid if you're feeling real salty.
Kincaid doesn't get many touches.
He doesn't do a lot. No, they don't use their tight ends much.
And I like Knox and him, but they just don't throw the tight ends the ball that much.
No, I think this is a game where Allen throws for 3 and runs in for another one.
So you'll be sitting there. Can I say that by halftime?
Turn it off by the third quarter.
By the third quarter, you'll be back upstairs.
I'll be asking my wife what she wants to watch on Netflix or something.
I watch Reptile. I recommend that.
Good?
It's a good movie. Yes, I enjoyed it. It's a movie, so it's not you have to sit there for hours.
Justin Timberlake, right?
Great actor, Academy Award. He did a fine job. Nothing. He was good. The movie was fun to watch. Everybody's like saying it's the greatest. It's not the greatest. It's good. Okay, Monday night, real quick, because you'll see us Thursday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific this Thursday with Dr. Dan Ratner. It's a very fun show. It's more strategy than we talk players, but you're welcome to ask questions.
And sit questions.
The Chargers off a bye week, Kasey Scheinfeld, are at home against the Cowboys, who just got embarrassed.
I love the Chargers this week. So because not only are they down Trayvon Diggs, but they also just lost Van Der Esch, their best run-stopping linebacker.
I love Van Der Esch, too. He's
for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
I like that guy. I remember when they drafted him.
He's such a throwback type of player.
I love him. I think of Lampard or Ditka. I mean, some of those guys,
Yeah.
So you like the Chargers, but starting wise, of course, Pollard. I wouldn't. Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott right now, unless
3 turnovers, Kasey Scheinfeld. 3 turnovers.
Yeah, I think Pollard's a start. I think CeeDee Lamb is a start, and I think Jake Ferguson is able to be startable. But outside of that, I'm not sure. On the Chargers, you got Herbert.
Herbert broke his left finger,
so he's his left hand. He's fine.
Left hand. So he had a bye week, so I think he's okay. Eckler's not playing.
Eckler's not going to play.
Allen, Mike Williams is out for the year. So you got
Keenan Allen, and you got Josh Palmer, and I think you might see Quentin Johnston this weekend. I wouldn't start him yet; he has to earn it. But I would stick with Herbert and the 2 wide receivers.
And that should be a fun offensive game. I mean, I think there'll be a lot of points scored. The over-under, which I always look at when I do my fantasy things, I suggest everybody looks at over-unders just because you want to see if it's what the gamblers are doing. 50.5 points, which is a good amount of points for NFL football. So there's going to be a lot of scoring that game. It could be a good game for you to start your players just because it's Monday night. You'll be down 10 points. You have Keenan Allen going, and you need Keenan Allen to have a good game, and you win your league. George Tucci, this guy's from Montreal, Canada. He's an expert on CFL football. You ask him about a CFL player like Russ Jackson, he'll give you his whole thing. Nobody better than 4-0 Montana. Not even Purdy. So he's talking about the 4 Super Bowls.
Because we call Brock Purdy, Brock Montana.
We call George Tucci. We do call Brock Purdy, Brock Montana, because we think he's as good as as Joe Montana, just because all the press people in San Francisco compare him to Montana, which is ludicrous. And we agree with you, George Tucci. He's not even close to Joe Montana, but he hasn't lost. I mean, he's lost at home. This Brock Purdy. So. Yes, George, we agree with you. And go BC Lions. You heard that from me first. George loves he loves Winnipeg. He loves the Blue Bombers. I don't know why. Don't ask. I think any more questions? Anybody else want to talk about anything? If not, we've been here for 46 minutes, Kasey Scheinfeld.
Yeah, I know. This has been great.
We'll see everybody Thursday with Dr. Dan Ratner, and we'll talk strategy. A lot of stuff going on in football, a lot of major injuries that we talked about. So make sure you're aware of this when you do your lineup this week. And also, don't forget to do your waiver wire. Kasey, really quick before we go, our survivor pool, I know you're out, but I'm taking.
No, I'm still in. I was wrong. I picked the Chargers that week.
Okay, good. I thought you were still in. I didn't want to argue with you, but I was going to tell you to check.
Parker Bledsoe got one in under the wire. Would you do this trade? I get Thielen and Lockett for Gibbs and Godwin.
I get Thielen. I get Adam Thielen, who's having a great year. He's having an unbelievable year, Adam Thielen.
I would probably do that because Jahmyr Gibbs has been slightly underwhelming. I mean, he might pick it up in the second half of the year, but if it's a PPR league, Thielen and Lockett are two pretty good
I would do that trade, yes. Adam Thielen's having the year of his life.
So who do I have this week in? I think I took Buffalo. You know, they're playing the Giants. It seemed like a pretty safe
I already took Buffalo, I think. You know who I'm taking, Case?
Who?
They're at home against the Washington Commanders, the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
They have not lost. You know, Ritter.
Do you have a loss yet this year?
No, I don't have a loss.
Oh, then
Ritter has not lost a home game. Let me finish. In his professional career when he starts, and he's 27-0 in college when he started. Think of 27-0, University of Cincinnati. That's unbelievable. That's 27.
Yeah.
And in pros, he has never lost a home game. So you know what? That streak's going to continue against the hapless Washington Commanders. I love that survival thing. We'll see what happens, but I was kind of like looking around like there's not many great. I already used all the top teams basically. So you can only use one team once, but I thought that was my best chance to win this week.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, and you're taking who?
Buffalo against the Giants. It just seemed like the easiest pick.
Yeah, I mean,
it was either that. I used the Dolphins already. I would have gone with the Dolphins again.
I used the Dolphins. I used Buffalo. I mean, Kasey, I used everybody. I really did. I mean, I used every top matchup I could just to stay undefeated. Okay, that's our show. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Flat to the Bone. Kasey Scheinfeld. We'll see you guys on Thursday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. Thanks for watching.